So it's kind of crazy. We have everybody talking about how Breece Hall can't end up here and can't end up there. Well, people are soon to forget what happens with the NFL. You forget about those times where A.J. Dillon lands behind Aaron Jones or Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara goes right behind Mark Ingram right after he got a new contract. Hell, even Jonathan Taylor. So I want to dive in and I want to talk about the 16 teams that could end up with Breece Hall on their roster following the NFL draft. All while walking my dog. Starting with number one. I know you guys are going to hate this one, so I had to start it out with probably one of the more controversial ones. But the Dallas Cowboys. That's right, the Dallas Cowboys are number one up on that list. Right? The Cowboys could cut Ezekiel Elliott. They could save $38.5 million after 2022. That's right, going into the 2023 season. And Tony Pollard's a free agent. Now, I know, I get it. I hear y'all, they don't need him. They're not going to make that mistake again. But Jerry Jones does what Jerry Jones does. He does what he wants to do. And when it comes to drafting players that they already have that is deep enough or that they don't have a need for, it doesn't matter because he wants playmakers and he wants guys on offense. So yes, the Cowboys, don't be surprised. I'm not saying he's definitely going to land there, but don't be surprised if Breece Hall goes to the Cowboys during the NFL draft. Now, number two, similar to the Cowboys, we have the Saints. And the Saints, yes, they have Alvin Kamara on contract, but once again, they can move on from this contract. But the crazier thing about the Saints is that they always have two really good running backs on their roster. I mean, don't forget, Kamara went to the Saints while they still had Mark Ingram off a fresh contract. In addition, I went back 20 years, and the Saints have never passed less than 33 times a game, yet Jameis Winston this past year only attempted 28 passes per game. They don't want him throwing the ball. If the Saints think they can compete, they're going to have to do it on the ground. And yes, that means getting another running back in there to back up Kamara. Number three, the Vikings. You guys might be sensing a trend here because guess what? The Vikings can move on from Dalvin Cook and his injury-plagued seasons, especially when it comes to later in the year. They save a whopping $12 million while only seeing $3 million in dead cap space. Meanwhile, they have a brand new coaching regime. That's right, they have a brand new coaching regime over there for the Vikings. This is the perfect opportunity to get their guys in the building. And of course, Breece Hall having the youth and having that upside. Woo! You talk about a perfect fit. Give me all that Breece Hall. And I'll tell you what, if they end up securing a young rookie receiver to put with Justin Jefferson, and then you have Irv Smith Jr., you have Breece Hall, right? And then you have any one of your top three wide receivers for that position. Woo! Give me that team all day. The Vikings are going to be sick nasty. Number four, this one's pretty easy. The Giants might be trying to move on from Saquon Barkley. I don't see him lasting with the Giants. And although it is outside of the organizational philosophies, I believe strongly that they could end up drafting Breece Hall. He could land there. It could happen. All right, I'm going to line 5 and 6 together. And we're going to go with the Arizona Cardinals and the Buccaneers. Now, I do believe that the Arizona Cardinals would be much more likely to do it. They don't want to give James Conner a full workload. I know they paid him for a couple years, but both Leonard Fournette's contract and James Conner contract, you can get them off the books. So these two teams are both teams that I feel like could end up being one of those landing spots. I'm going to get hit by a car doing this. All right, this one, I was like, But the Raiders, right? Josh Jacobs could come off the books. And when we look at the history of this head coach and the coaching staff as a whole, we've seen them involved with multiple different first-round running backs. Josh McDaniels, he took Noshawn Moreno when he was the first year of a head coach of the Denver Broncos. Why couldn't he do it again? Now, no, I do not think that the Raiders take him in the first round, but if he somehow falls and they can end up making a move, I would not be shocked if the Raiders ended up with Breece Hall and moved on from Josh Jacobs after the 2022 season. As for 8, 9, and 10, we could see the Chiefs try again on a first-round running back. We could see the Falcons try for the first time in the first 2 rounds since 2002. Whew, that's a lot of twos. Or we could try the Seahawks, try one that could stay healthy in the first round. Meanwhile, you have Houston Texans. They have a whole bunch of holes, but we saw what happened with Jacksonville. So maybe we see the Texans pull an Urban Meyer and go running back at some point way too early in the draft. I think that was 11. I think I just did 11 with the Texans. So 12, 13, and 14, we have The Eagles, you can lock in that as a possible destination. I know that the Eagles fans don't want to hear it, but Miles Sanders can't stay healthy. Plus, he's on the last year of his contract. Lock that in as a possible destination. As for the Jets and Dolphins, I know that they have very similar organizational philosophies, and a running back in the first couple rounds doesn't really fit it, but it does make sense in terms of a talent point and wanting to get help for their quarterbacks. So yes, Breece Hall could end up landing with the Jets or the Dolphins. However, my one team that I think is the biggest sleepers in the entire draft is the Chicago Bears. You have a coach who is part of the drafting of Ezekiel Elliott, and hell, he was the passing game coordinator, so you know all those targets came his way. And then you have the same coach involved with the Jonathan Taylor draft pick. Then you have Ryan Poles, the GM, who, guess what? He was vouching all the way for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Also, Ryan Poles, being part of the Chiefs, was with them since 2009, and they only gave one running back a second contract that was even halfway decent. That was Jamal Charles. Right? Which was in his first season over there as a scouting assistant. So yes, 100% the Bears could be a destination. They have the evidence. They have the coaches to make it work, and they need help for Justin Fields. Whew, that was a lot. I'm going to go grab a drink. ABC time.